Hello, how's the writing going? Are you writing authentically? Communicate your vision authentically. What does this mean? Actually, what does it mean? It sounds like the latest buzzword, but what I've understood about buzzwords is they always try to say some old thing, some really well-known concept in a different way. So let's understand and unwrap what does authentically actually mean? What is authentic content? What I have understood out of authentic content, it is not about just telling stories to people about your past and saying how that past has affected your present and your future or has built your brand. That is part of it. That's not exactly what authentically means for me. For me, authentically means that you are ready to listen. You're listening to what your audience is saying. You're responding to what they want. And that is authentically. When you speak by understanding what they want to hear and what is their need, what is their gap, that is authentically. Of course, you have to speak your truth in it. That goes without saying. But if you keep on speaking your truth and there's no one out there listening, or they are not interested in your truth, it does not matter to them. That's not what they can relate to. Then does that make it authentic? And how authentic will it be for them? So it's not about being authentic one way. Authentically is both ways. And to do that, the first and the most important step is to understand your audience. Understand who they are, what are their problems, what are they dealing with. And then you will find those incidents in your own life, because once you start understanding that they are going through those problems, you will understand that you also went through those problems. You also had those doubts. You also had those queries. And how did you tackle them? What were the things that helped you? And when you put yourself in their shoes is when the magic happens. That is one part of authentically listening, understanding. That's a very, very key ingredient. And why authentic? Why does authentic make so much more sense now? I feel that it makes more sense, especially for experts or people who want to tell their stories. I look at it totally from my angle of writing a book for an expert. How does being authentic help you? Well, it saves time for starters. How does it save time? Because you know exactly what they want to hear. You understand your audience so well that you're not saying 10 different things. You are saying what is right, what comes from within you to address that gap. What are they struggling with? What is your reader struggling with? And what can you help? And when you start talking about it like that, thinking about it like that, it saves time not only for you as a writer who's writing down that whole concept in a book, but for the reader to really understand what you're saying. You're addressing the gap face on, authentically. You're telling the stories that matter to you, that affect your reader. It's how you can build your vision, your story authentically in your book. And that's what we talk about, right? That's the latest buzzword. But look behind the buzzword. Behind the buzzword is a very old understanding. The fact is that you need to talk to people in a way that they can relate to you. And that is authenticity. If they can relate to you, if they can feel you're human, then you're being authentic. Bye-bye. That's my tip for today.